still trying to process it, you know? Hey, but I guess that's why we're doing this video, right, Bob? By now, I'm sure you've seen it, or at least heard about it. UFC 274, Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson ended with one of the best front snap kick knockouts of all time. You can argue whether Lyoto Machida's was better or Anderson Silva's was better. Today, we are going to discuss how that front kick is thrown to get that single flush knockout, but we're also going to do a lesson on adaptability here because Mike showed some of the best adjustments in this fight to take home the victory. Yes, I am in the new fightTIPS DOJO 2.0, and I'm going to be showing you more angles in the future. For now, I just want to give you a little sneak peek before we do the big gym reveal, thanks to Century Martial Arts. But until then, let's talk about the front snap kick. Actually, one time I was doing a seminar with Michael Chandler, and I was like, we're going to do a punch to kick combo, and we come with that low kick. Jeez, Mike. And he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, you really are Iron Mike. I threw that low kick, and I swear I felt like I was hitting like a steel beam. A testament to his training and his strength and conditioning. The dude is literally solid. So let's talk about this front snap kick and what makes it so effective. So the front snap kick up the center, it's like an uppercut, but with the foot, right? It follows the same trajectory, coming right up the center, in between the guard, and it's hard to see. When you don't see a strike coming, that's usually the one that puts you to sleep. In this case, put Tony to sleep for a couple of minutes before he woke up. And I just want to take this moment real quick to send some positive energy to Tony. Really happy to see that he's okay after this brutal knockout. But with this kick, and we saw it earlier in the night with OVP against Shogun, Ovin St. Preux kept throwing this weird snap kick to the center very early. And this is a great kick. You started to see the redness in Shogun's belly. It slows them down. It creates a distraction. Not only that, if I am concentrating all of my power here into the ball of my foot, which is basically the knuckles of the foot, I can tear an abdomen muscle. I can hit the solar plexus and knock the wind out of them. I can probably break a rib or rupture some internal organs in there. But again, it's a distraction, and it's really hard technique to defend against, a very underutilized technique. So if you are going to start adding this kick into your arsenal, which I highly, highly recommend, start working with just low kicks, right? You can start kicking to the knee first, turning outward on an angle, and whether you're hitting with the ball of your foot or hitting with the arch, just using it more like a teep or to disrupt the rhythm, start to build up your mobility and flexibility in the hamstring, start going to the body. And then eventually, once you do have that flexibility, you can start to bring it up here. All right, so some stretches that you can do. First, you want to warm up your legs. So you're going to do squats. You're going to do your lunges, right? You're going to do running in place, bringing your knees up as high as you can. Once you get this all warmed up, your glutes and your hamstrings, then you're going to do forward folds, static holds. All right, so you're going to keep your legs straight, slight bend in the knees, bringing your chest to your knees and holding that for about 10 breaths. You can do it standing. You can do it seated. But you ultimately want to work up to be able to get in this position, to raise your leg up to someone's head, all right? And then be able to throw it with control. Now, this kick itself does resemble a soccer kick. It does look like Mike was punting a field goal, but then the placement of hitting the ball of your foot right on the chin. The reason why the success or the knockout rate is so high with uppercuts and front snap kicks to the chin is because your head doesn't really naturally roll this way. Right? If it's a hook, someone's throwing a hook punch, I can turn my neck, I can rotate my shoulders and hips and take some of the steam off of the shot. It's an overhand punch, I can compress and tilt and move away from those shots. But going like this, I never practiced this motion with my head. So it jostles the brain around, it short circuits me, and I go to sleep. Right? So that's why this is a technique you have to put into your arsenal. All right? And you got to hit those 10,000 reps where you're going to the body, to the chin, working your different angles, working the placement, the accuracy, but then also notice the looseness into the muscle tension. I'm loose, and then there's that tension, so it's a strong impact. Now, a quick technique tip when throwing the front snap kick is the word snap. You have to snap or quickly or violently extend your leg just before the point of impact. Now, this is important here, right? When we throw the teep in Muay Thai, we bring the knee high, and then we kick out to kick the door down, right? We're pushing them back. This isn't a push kick, this is a snap kick. It's done for high impact. So we have to stay loose and relaxed all the way to the point right before, and that's when we quickly extend our leg and snap the kick, and we have to make sure that we pull our toes back so that we expose the ball of the foot. In Taekwondo, we weren't able to level up in belts unless we could do that with our foot, and that just takes the 10,000 reps. Right, so when you're practicing this kick, stack the leg and make sure that you're making contact with the ball of the foot. And when I talk about this and when I watch Mike I can't help but hear Bruce Lee in my head and him talking about water flowing and crashing and it becoming the teapot and it becoming the cup and the bottle. Because Mike was losing that fight, right? Like in the first round, if you watch, I was worried that Mike was going to continue to get picked apart on the feet because he couldn't find his range. Tony was outstriking him, out-countering him. It wasn't until the very end of the first round that Mike was able to get on top and land some ground and pound. But even there, Ferguson was doing well with his elbows cutting Mike open. So going into the second round, I was like, man, he's got to do something different. 20 seconds in, sure enough, he did. He made those adjustments. And it was the post-fight interview that really was interesting to me because Joe Rogan said, was it the way that Tony was holding his hands up? Was it the way he was standing? How did you know to throw that kick? And Mike was like, we didn't even practice that kick in camp. And that's incredible to me. And that just shows, it's a testament to how good of an athlete he is, how good of a strategist he is, how good of a martial artist he is to be able to adjust. He was saying that they did want to land the uppercut, that they were practicing trying to get that uppercut in on Tony. But if you watch the first round, he was having so much trouble on the feet, getting out punched, that it discouraged him from throwing that. He's the shorter fighter, he couldn't land that uppercut, so what adjustment did he make? Throw the uppercut with the leg. And he threw it from a far enough distance, he came out stalking like he usually does. Tony was doing a good job roping him in, but he was also leaning forward, his hands were wide and low, and his head was over his support foot. So he's contouring his body and he's giving this perfect angle. He's making himself shorter, and he's giving this perfect angle for the uppercut. And this lesson in adaptability here and flow, it's what it is. Mike saw the opportunity and without thinking, just went for it. I think he was just as surprised as everyone else. But the lesson is, Tony didn't expect that. None of us expected that, right? No one expected a front snap kick knockout from Michael Chandler, someone who's a low kicker, a boxer, a wrestler. To throw this front snap kick, that was his card up his sleeve. It reminds me of Joaquin Buckley, right? When he threw the kick, he got his leg caught, and he got one of the best knockouts of all time, right? Remember the jumping back kick to the head knockout? No one expected that from Buckley. He's known as a heavy puncher, but he's got this kick in his arsenal. He's got this card up his sleeve. So whether you're a wrestler, then maybe you should have a good high kick. If you're a good kicker, maybe you should be good at throwing triangles from your back. Always have some sort of go-to technique. Always have a strategy B through Z, because if strategy A doesn't work, just like it didn't work for Mike, you have to be able to adjust on the fly. So the biggest takeaway in this video isn't that you have to start throwing front snap kicks. The biggest takeaway is that you have to understand concepts. When you can recognize opportunities, you can make adjustments on the fly. For instance, Mike saw that there was an opening up the center for an upward trajectory strike. He wasn't able to get close enough to land the punch, so he threw the kick instead, and it won him the fight. So when I say concepts, I want you to think about feints, right? How can I trick my opponent to move a certain way so that I can compromise their guard or offset their balance? I want to think about range. How can I get close enough even if I'm fighting a taller opponent? Maybe I make them step in towards me and close the distance for me. Thinking about angles. It's not just necessarily about the angle at which I'm stepping or moving, but it's the angle of my punches, and it's also the angle that my opponent is standing. Now, if you like this language, you got to join fightTIPS.com. It's social media for martial artists, basically. Check it out. I got 2 weeks for you down below. Click the link. I'm on there all the time. I do journal entries. We got exclusive videos on there. Check it out. And very excited for the gym reveal. It's coming very, very soon. Just a couple of more days. I just got to make the final touches. I want it to be magnifique. It's coming. It's coming. Until next time, I'm Shane. This is Bob. Fight Tips for the underdogs.